David here for another Fusion 360 tutorial. Today we're going to be learning how to render to make photographic style images of 3D models. So let's assume we have our model here. This is a cylinder with hexagon cutouts. Now we're going to be working on making a render. To do this, we go to the upper left-hand side to change the workspace. Now I'm going to go from design to render. Now, when you enter render space, a lot of times the material will have kind of a gray steel finish and a gray background. So let's say we want to change this. If we click Appearance on the upper left here, the Appearance box drops down. And now there's lots of different kinds of materials. There's glass, there's mirrors, metal. And what I want to do is kind of get an orangey style paint. So if I click under paint, you can see there's these powder rough coats. I think that would be good. And if there's one that you don't have available, so not all of them are immediately available, what you can do is download them. So basically you can now download the setting and that allows you to have the material. So let's say we put this yellow. What we can do is drag it on to the object. And now we have a yellowy kind of honeycomb. And let's say I wanted it to be just a little more orange. What you can do is right click it, edit it, and now you can also change the color. So maybe I just want a little more orange. Now what we've done here so far is apply it to the body. You can also apply different appearances to different faces. So let's say we wanted the top to be green. To do that, go to Face. I'm going to select, let's say I want metallic. Let's say I want a metallic green. You see here it's not downloaded. So what I do is I push that button and now it's downloaded. So let's say I want a metallic green, but I just want it to the very top face. So I highlight just the top face. Maybe I have to zoom in a little more. I highlight just the top face and now it's a metallic green. So you can basically paint, add different appearances to the model. I'll also say that there's also see-through materials. So for example, you can go to glass and let's say a glass heavy color blue. I download that. And now I'm just going to apply this to the entire body. And this will remove all the other ones. And now it's see-through. So you can make see-through materials and lots of really cool materials. But I'm just going to stick to the yellow. Now, I want to change the background. So to do that, we go to Scene Settings. Now up top, this changes the amount of light. So how bright the sun is, for example. And right now you can see that we're on a solid color. Now to change the color, you can go here. Let's say we wanted a light green. I could change it like that to a light green. But another option is to make like an environment. So to do that, we would basically select environment. And I already have here pre-selected a field. But to change that, for example, this could be crossroads. I grab the environment, I let go. And now this honeycomb is inside this area. Now I'm going to go back to the field because I want it to be in a field. So I drag that, let go. And you can also download other versions. Okay. So now if I go to the settings, you see that the model is not actually on the ground. It's kind of floating. So sometimes this won't be selected the ground plane, but what you can do is select the ground plane. You can say flatten ground. So now that's put the object on the ground. I'm just going to turn off this depth of field. So one other interesting thing that you can do right here is this position. So if we click position, you can change the rotation. So let's say and you can also change the ground scale. So let's say I think I want it to be kind of right about here. So that's good. Now, there are some other things that you can do in this. I'm just going to close that. Go back to the scene settings. You can also change the focal length. And so if you go close, this is kind of like a fisheye. If you go really far away, it's like looking at it from far away. And the exposure also changes basically how much light is coming into this pretend camera. So let's say this is how we like it. What you can do now is you can go to this in-canvas render and you can preview the render. Basically, you push play right here for in-canvas render, and now it's tracing all the rays, like all the little photons. And let's say this is the image that I want. What you can do from now is you can capture the image right here. And this just captures what's in the window. So that's one way to go about it. And then now you can save this to your computer. And so this already exists, so I'm going to replace it. Now, I'm just going to turn off the in-canvas render because that uses more CPU to process all those kind of rays. Another way to do it is to click this render here. And this makes it easy for to select different size. So let's say I want a 1280 1.3 megapixel size. So I can click that. You can select the render quality. Do you want standard or more high quality? I'm just going to do standard. And now push render. Now this will go into this render gallery below. So I'm going to open this up. And I've done some other renders before, but this most recent render is right here on the left. So now you can see the render, and now you can download this. Now you can also, switch positions. Let's say we want it to be more this way. I can do another render. You can change the aspect ratio. So maybe we want a square. And I'll render this. So now basically this allows you to do your renders, download them to your computer, and then have a really nice image of the model that you've been creating. You can download. Now I will note, it's also possible to make other bodies that illuminate light, and that will basically allow the render to change. So I've created this other body here, which is a steel body. But I just want to show this. So if I go to appearance, I'm just going to close this render gallery below. Now, if I type in LED, there's different LEDs that come up. So one LED, let's use this 50 lumen LED. So if I grab that and I highlight over the box, now this box is basically illuminating light. Now I want to show how this looks. So if I go to the scene settings, it's going to be hard to see this box of light because the background is so bright. But what I can do is turn down the background. And now it's not going to show up unless I do the in-canvas render. So I'm going to push in-canvas render, and now you can see I'm actually painting the object with light. So you can create different lights to shine light on your models, and then you can save renders of these. Now I just will show one final example of a light that I made for an art project. And before I made it in real life, I wanted to see what the shadows would look like. So here I have a complex model, and I had a little sphere in the middle that's illuminating light. So when I go to the render, you can see there's a little spot in the middle. Now let me just turn the background up a little bit, maybe to 8 lumens, so you can see the background. Now you're only going to see the light unless you're tracing it by doing the in-canvas render. So here is an example of, I turned it on. There's a very small body in the middle, which is illuminating light. You can see that in the middle. And this is basically illuminating the light and allowing me to see what the effects would be. So yeah, Fusion 360 rendering is very powerful. You can change the environment, you can paint with light, you can change the appearances and do lots of things. Hope you enjoyed that tutorial and see you next time. Bye-bye.